Hey everyone. Welcome back. I'm Nix, and are you ready to ramble? Tender corruption within the board of Prasa has been raised in another anonymous letter to Minister of Transport Barbara Creecy, coming from a disgruntled board member. This follows a detailed whistleblower report over tender fraud in March, after which the Hawks raided Prasa headquarters in Braamfontein. This is over and above the Hawks raid in March. This is the latest of at least 3 anonymous reports alleging fraud and corruption in Prasa's top echelons this year. The writer of the letter says if the board does not have a vested interest in a tender, the tender will never see the day of light. The writer of this anonymous letter takes aim at lavish expenditure on transport and accommodation from board members. While Prasa is cash-strapped, its 2024 financial statements reveal a 2.5 billion deficit in operational activities. The writer states board members are put up in expensive 5-star hotels when they are out on business. In Cape Town, they are allegedly accommodated at 15 on Orange, where the cheapest room costs about 3,000 per night, excluding breakfast. I took a quick look at what this might cost me for one night, and the only one available, it's a one-night stay for me, executive suite, 4,895. Affordable if the taxpayer is paying for it. The letter also states that nobody is being held accountable for over 100 million paid out to senior executives following contested unfair dismissals. Among the executives who received payout was Zulani Matthews and the Sibani Fosu. Matthews was appointed CEO in March 2021, but suspended in November that year on the grounds he failed to disclose his dual British citizenship. He was dismissed in December that year. However, in a Labour court, Matthews' dismissal was noted as unlawful and he needed to be reinstated as CEO. However, Prasa had in the meantime appointed Hisham Imran as CEO, who then told Matthews to stay at home and paid him out for the remainder of his 5-year term, which was due to end in February 2026, next year. Prasa's legal botch with Matthews, including trying to fire him twice, cost us well over 15 million. So 2 of the executives who received the payouts, it's crazy news. Fosu, so appointed CFO, Chief Financial Officer, September 2019, suspended February 2022, allegedly for raising questions on invoices relating to the payment of emergency security contracts. So you're suspended because you raised questions on invoices. She, however, received an 11.9 million rand golden handshake in February 2024 after receiving full pay while on suspension for 2 years. What I would give to be put on full pay and sit at home on suspension. The whistleblower, the disgruntled board member, also said that one of their colleagues never attended board meetings despite being paid a stipend, and 2 board members owed SARS millions of rands. Interesting, hey? Because the former passenger rail agency CEO Lucky Montana has taken extraordinary steps of laying criminal charges against SARS Commissioner Edward, accusing him and other SARS officials of fraudulently doctoring a fake court judgment to justify a heavy tax bill. And the whistleblower says 2 board members owed SARS millions of rands. How is it allowed that one government institution doesn't pay the other government institution, but the one controlling all the money keeps looking at the law-abiding, diligent taxpayer to squeeze us even more? Improve your processes to do credit control with your partners. It seems relatively easy. It says it's a bottomless hole of corruption. Why is all of this important? Let me put it into context. Last week, Eskom announced a profit. Nobody really went into the detail of the municipalities having to owe Eskom over 100 billion rand. That article also states that logistics is the very next sector that has to be fixed in order for South Africa to unlock GDP growth. Without our freight and logistics being sorted, we will not achieve economic growth. The World Bank also gave South Africa a 25.8 billion rand loan for, this is what it's called, infrastructure modernization, improved energy and freight transport services in South Africa. Thank you for the loan, but just now in September, a board member has stated that there is rampant corruption. So all the World Bank has done is continue to fuel the corruption. So while the executives are running around getting golden handshakes and put on paid leave, they're paying almost $5,000 for one night in a big fancy hotel. They also fantastic little South African rail event, Africa's only rail event, hosted by rail operators from Africa. Lekker man, lekker. This looks like an exceptionally expensive event. I've done smaller events than this, and they are millions of rands. So thank you. You continue to do your gala evenings and your award evenings and your golf days. All these events, dress up, shake hands, eat great food. Spending $5,000 a night on accommodation in Cape Town. Great. Golden handshakes, 11.9 million, after you've been on suspended paid leave for 2 years. And then you get an additional 11 point whatever million rand. So yes, I'm a bit confused. Eskom has a profit, but they also have 100 billion rand debt book. If we don't unlock logistics, we can't have GDP growth. And the World Bank thinks we're on track because they give us 25.8 billion rand, which we'll have to pay back, when we're already at 76% GDP. It just doesn't make sense. And then at the very same time, we have a whole long letter to Minister of Transport Barbara Creecy stating that there is tender corruption within the board of Prasa. How does it say? If the board does not have vested interest in a tender, the tender will never see the light of day. So it's very contradictory. And I can see that the hawks are seizing laptops and everything's very exciting. But in the same breath, like CEOs are being changed all over the place, left, right, and center. This one's on suspended leave. That one's getting golden handshakes. You're going to all these gala evenings and travel and all that lacquer. How are we able to fix freight and logistics if the people at the top are too busy running around trying to figure out how to steal the next 25.8 billion rand? They must be singing like little chirpy birds about that money and having access to it. The fact is, in Cape Town, people have built their homes over the railway lines. I don't know if that issue has been fixed, but in order to move those people, the municipality has to find them new land. So now we have to find them new land. But by that time, they built more on the rail. It's a never-ending saga. This is a leadership issue. This is an ANC issue. It is ingrained in them to steal. Nothing else but corruption and theft. That's my ramble for today, ladies and gentlemen. It's just when I do my research and I'm looking at one thing after the next, I start to see a story, and it's very repetitive in some ways, is that this person lodges a whistleblower's complaint, the Hawks get involved, but maybe like a year later. Meanwhile, there are multiple CEOs who steal multiple things with a whole bunch of new companies. The Hawks are involved, but now it's a year later. It's just, these things take so long because A, there's so many of it, and B, our system moves like a freaking snail. But the pace at which the investigations and corruption is exposed is too slow. Because that 25.8 billion rand that from the World Bank, on top of all of our other loans that Cyril has decided to sign on the dotted line for, that's being looted while the ANC in African time try and fix the very things they broke. And until you also fix the police, they're just going to loot the rails as you fix it. So the ANC have found themselves in a position where everything is so messed. And in order for one thing to be fixed, it relies on another thing, but that thing's also broken, so it relies on another thing, but that thing's also broken. So all of the things are broken, so nothing can be fixed. Let the looting continue. Corruption fatigue. It's real. Let me know what you think. This is just another Prasa scandal on top of all the other Prasa scandals. But I think for me it is relevant because the logistics and freight of South Africa is now the very next thing after Eskom that has to be fixed in order for our GDP to grow. Without it, we cannot grow. But if you just look at how these stories are unraveling, and now we have additional whistleblowers, more money coming in for looting, it's just absolute chaos. There is absolutely no indication that some sort of control and restraint has been put in place to make this work. How long has it taken the ANC to fix Eskom? Over 8 years. How long is it going to take to fix Prasa? Man, drop a comment. Let me know how you feel about all of this and all of the corruption in general, just the corruption fatigue. It's almost like a sandcastle or like a Jenga tower. Mkhwanazi pulled a piece out and this, and the GNU has destabilized the ANC's ability to perform corruption actions under the radar. So this little sandcastle is starting to crumble, and the ANC are scrambling. Fascinating times. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive in South Africa. Gotta love it, guys. It keeps us young, on our toes. On that note, subscribe if you haven't. Like and share to show your support for this video. And then, of course, feel free to become a member for $14.99. Make a once-off donation via PayPal. Or what? Or follow me on X. You won't find me on Facebook or Instagram. I boycott Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, thanks to most of the accounts on his platforms being bots and predators. So that's the reason he won't clean up the accounts, because if he does, his user base will drop tenfold. So technically, he's just supporting predators and bots. I just can't stand for that kind of thing. Anywho, we all got to choose our battle. I guess that one's mine. Okay, have a great day, guys. Over and out.